Come on in, guys. My name's Dustin, and I'm a home cook and an aspiring YouTuber. And what I wanted to say is this is my first episode ever, and I wanted it to be filmed as raw as humanly possible. 6 months from now, I want to be able to cringe at it, but for right now, I have to get something started because I feel like there's something inside me that I need to be talking about. I have been influenced by years and years over watching YouTube content and over watching so many of amazing cooks. But what I feel like a lot of them don't do is talk about the periphery, the things that are outside the cooking, like your pantry or your dishes or how you have your spice organized or how we're all busy people who don't all live in mansions with infinite space. These are the kinds of things that I want to talk about on my YouTube channel. So the first thing I wanted to do is I wanted to have it set up so that I wasn't in a pretty environment where everything is perfect, but I wanted it to feel a little bit more like home. So I'm nervous to do this, but one of the first things I wanted to do in my YouTube channel is to talk about pantry organization. So without prettying mine up or without doing anything before filming this, I wanted to show you my pantry. So don't judge me. Well, do judge me, but welcome in because I have a lot of ideas. This is the basics of my pantry. Hit that. I'll get to where I think these are some of the most underappreciated tools in the entirety of the kitchen. But one thing I wanted to show you was this. Can you see it okay? You can see inside the pantry? I have my pantry roughly set up. So up here are somewhat breakfast items and kombucha. You're like, why are the mashed potatoes in there? It's because of entropy, which I'll get to in a little bit. On the second, these are sauces that I sort of use to make my creations and some of my vaguely Italian staples, capers, extras. I almost always, when I have a half a bottle left of something, I actually buy an extra of it so that I always keep my staple pantries full and I can create something at the drop of a hat. And in the second shelf, I have some of my Asian staples like noodles. And I also have, if I have any canned goods, this is where I will have them. I have an onion here. Why in the heck would I have an onion in here? I have an onion in here because I keep it separate from the potatoes. Because if you have them close to potatoes, then you actually rot them both a lot quicker. So that's a pro tip, keep your onions away from your potatoes. On the next row, you'll notice I have a bunch of Asian staples. It takes a lot of different products in order to have vaguely ethnic foods, which is something I want to have a series on to say, hey, here's some basic ingredients that you need to have in order to make your vaguely ethnic foods. I say vaguely ethnic because I'm not an expert. I'm not from another culture. I just take and assimilate what is the best of their items to my own. And I build these items over time. In your pantry, you might want to have those too. And I believe that I can help. On the next shelf, this is where I'll have some of my baking goods. I'm not generally a baker, so this is where I may have some sort of weaknesses, and maybe you guys as the people in the community can say, hey, maybe you need X, Y, or Z thing. I'm open to it because I want this to be engaging for everyone. So I have inside here, because I have a lot of Mexican staples. I live in Colorado, and Colorado was once part of Mexico, and because of that, I feel like we have a strong Mexican influence in our food. I have different kinds of chilies. Well, these are actually noodles, not chilies. These go to my Asian staples, which I'll talk about a little bit later. Found them. Chilies. These are kind of all the different styles of chilies that I'll have when we go through different recipes. There's workhorses. If you can see in here also, after I take also these chilies out, I have vinegars, soy sauces, and things like that I buy in bulk because we're in a tight spot right now in terms of economy, whether it's price gouging or the government or we're afraid of tariffs or whatever that might be. I believe that I have something to say that I can help you guys save a lot of money and have only limited space. This is the space that I have, minus some place where I hold on to bulk items out in my storage or my patio. I don't live in a giant mansion. I don't live in a fancy place. And probably if you guys are listening, you probably don't either. But you want to cook great food and you want to cook it inexpensive. I buy in bulk. That's not necessarily a tip. You know that one. Okay, so putting this stuff away. This is what's gonna make you guys freak out, but don't freak out because it's all totally doable. So minus some of these baking items that are my extras. Oh, look, an onion. When we do a video where I'm gonna reorganize the pantry, I'm gonna show you what we do because this is just a natural part of the degradation of your pantry. It can't be perfect all the time, but what you can do is keep things in order and you can keep things showing so that you can actually access the foods that you have available. Look, I found an onion. Under here, this is what's gonna make you freak out. These are spices. Why do I have so many spices? I have so many spices because I buy them in bulk and because I make different styles of cooking, especially if you're gonna mess around doing vaguely Indian cooking, you're gonna find yourself with a lot of spices. I don't like the way a lot of YouTubers just, you use a spice one time and then it just sits there forever. I can't tell you how often I buy things from watching other YouTube chefs and I just don't use that ingredient ever again. Off to the left down here, which I don't know if you can see, I actually have like different styles. Again, these are some Mexican staples. Here's some psyllium husks, which I use to make tortillas. All this kind of things we'll take care of in other videos. I even have, it's not just all-purpose flour, but this is Golden Temple, and this I use to make, in essence, the Indian version of a tortilla called roti or chapati, depending on where you're from. I'll cover in all those when we start doing these vaguely ethnic videos, but what I wanted to make sure that all of you knew is that I'm starting my journey and I want to start my journey with you. And I feel like I have so many things to say in terms of what we can be cooking, but I didn't want to just start with a YouTube video that showed ramekins of products and throwing it together and say this is how you make it, because I don't believe that that's where the most of us start our cooking. Most of us starts our cooking in our pantry. In the next video, I'll maybe talk about my spices and how I have those organized. Once we do that, then I'll start making some recipes, and I'll start helping you organize your pantry, organize your spices, so that we can put those products into ramekins and so that we can grow together. I hope you guys help me grow as well. Don't know what to say today, but thank you. Please be merciful. I want to cringe at this in 6 months, but I want you guys to go on this journey with me. So again, my name's Dustin. I'm an aspiring YouTuber and I'm a home cook. And I just appreciate you guys being with me on my journey today.